The Karcher T9/1 BP, so called because it runs off of batteries like a nice hybrid vacuum cleaner. It's very good. I've been using it a surprising amount. But what if there was some more we could do, perhaps verging into the realms of a bit silly, not quite in keeping with originality? I'll give you a small hint, because Sheila now has a wart growing out of her face. Let me tell you why I have removed the original 2-pin power adapter and fitted this one to it, and tell you what we're going to plug into it to make Sheila the Karcher a fair bit more fun than she is now. Let's have a look. Yes, hello, my vacuum cleaner chums. How are you today? Welcome to the third video on the Karcher T9. I never thought we'd be doing this when I took pity on her all those months ago and bought her for £10 because in standard guys, pretty flipping good. I've been using it quite a lot. I can say that the batteries both last between them for about 15 minutes, which isn't too bad when I'm quickly pushing her around or giving the desk a dust without having to bother with such ancient prehistoric things as plugging it into the wall. Pah! But I've always been curious about the 40-watt 24-volt power supply that comes from her face. I like vacuums with a 40 watts, well, any electronic power takeoff really. So I went shopping and I bought something which we're going to have a look at in a minute. But I must explain why I've taken the original, this is a 2-pin IEC figure of 8 connector on the front. And that's because to do the thing that we're going to do, I bought myself from eBay a 2-pin figure of 8 IEC extension cable. On the other end was a female one of these, which did plug in there very badly indeed. It turns out it wasn't making any electrical connection at all and was quite boring in that regard. So I dug through my box of rubbish and I remembered that I had these. They're quite frankly bloody awful, cheap, nasty things, and I've used them before. The pneumatic powerhead that I hacked together is put together with one of these. So I replaced the connector. This is a bit of cut up Dyson cable that runs around to the side and just plugs in to the PCB. So effectively this is the same, it just comes out like this. And yes, to take the top off, I've either got to lift it a bit and unplug the cables, then take it off, or unwire the whole thing. Little details indeed. But, Becca, I hear you saying, why? Well, because, you know, 24 volts. There's a lot you can do with 24 volts, and I'm going to put these on whilst we discuss this. Yeah, you know, the actual Karcher do well, that's not going to be any good at all. This hose is massive. It needs loads of length. Yeah, Karcher do a powerhead kit for these. And I think I looked, and if I remember at the time of editing this, I'll go off and have another look. It costs about 750 quid. It is not a cheap kit at all. Oh, that's a rubbish one. It was, yeah, I've obviously gave up before I put that idea straight out of my head because, quite frankly, screw that. Sheila only cost me a tenner. Why would I pay any more? So then I went onto eBay, as you do, and found exactly what we were looking for. Let me introduce you to this. This is, look, it's a 24 volt. It's a powerhead from a Vax Blade, which is a truly bloody awful cordless machine. In fact, I bought one for 99p, the whole machine, and then promptly got a refund because the lady had already sold it before I bought it. Grr. So I found this one, and I think I paid £9 for it, plus postage, and it's seen some use. This is why I never recommend a Vax blade, because they're just so flipping cheap. This is quite a recent model, and already it's baggy, worn. There's also a screw missing, although that's obviously not its fault. But if we look at the credentials, look, it is 30 watts, 21.6 volts. What's even more amazing, and to be fair, I was expecting a battle with this, but this is a standard 32mm vacuum cleaner tube. It just fits straight in, which is amazing. What's also pretty cool is that this is the actual official end of the extension lead that I bought. It is just a figure of 8 2-pin connector. Would you know it? It plugs straight in to the back of the power head, although only one way, so in a minute we'll have to check and maybe flip it around if needed. So we can continue to put the flex onto the wand. Look, we've got some spares. Meh. And what that does is it turns Sheila into a monster. Have to wait for the motor. There we go, look. It's brilliant. I mean, it's flimsy, but it's also very wobbly, which isn't particularly nice. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. We might be able to fix that if we glue that pivot together. What I have made is a cordless bagged vacuum cleaner with a power head. So that is fantastic. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause. I'm going to cube on the heck out of this pivot point here, just there and at the back, so it stops moving, because all I want it to do is bend up and down. Then, while that dries, I'm going to spread some sawdust, because I know I always use sawdust, it's all I really have. But again, it sticks to the fibres of the carpet, especially this rug. And, you know, this floor head, as much as it is cheap and nasty and utterly disposable, has such a stiff and pretty good brush roll. You can see the grooming lines in this rug, and this rug is notoriously difficult. Also stands up by itself, although the whole thing is so light that the weight of the hose and the wands pulls it over. Yeah, Sheila gets an upgrade. The glue should be dry now, so we can carry on. There, I've put down a fair bit of sawdust and rubbed it into the pile. Now, usually this probably be quite a lot, so I'm going to use my green note to demonstrate that it's probably a bit too much for a normal cordless vacuum cleaner. That's not bad. That's not too bad at all. Fair play, green note. That was on low as well, I'll give it that. But yeah, obviously there's still lots everywhere. Didn't really go into the pile. However, and again, I've now killed the pivot, so it doesn't pivot. It's now, you know, forwards and back, which is what you want with all this weight behind it. If we turn on Sheila, I'll wait for the motor to ramp up. Oh, a bit of slow powering, the green note didn't do that. Now if that was attached to a Vax blade, crikey, it probably would have blown up by now, but I doubt little Sheila is even a third full in her pneumatic HEPA flow bag. And that is where the bits that I am sure about in this video, shall we say, end, because yes, I have used it before filming this because I wanted to check that it worked before weeks went by. But what I haven't done is plug Sheila in. At the minute, that was on 300 watts of power. With Sheila now being fed from the mains, and I'll need to move you over to there just a little bit, she is now going to transform into 1300 watts, which I do admit is probably going to clamp this down so much it's going to be hard to move, and I don't know if it's going to tear itself apart, but that's why I thought I'd save it for this video. Let's see how Sheila copes on full power with her new powerhead. Whoa. Yeah, it's barely moving it, I'll be honest. My word. Oh, the red light of doom. So yeah, Sheila pulls this down so hard, it just jams the power in. I'm going to open the suction relief valve and try again. There's a lot of snow plowing going on. I cannot pretend there isn't. Half closed the release valve. Oh, so yeah, it needs a suction relief valve fully open for this to work. Ah. Come on, back on. I mean, it's too good, really. Or this carpet is too deep, I should say. I imagine on a thinner pile carpet it'll be a lot better. So I think we'll pull the plug on Sheila and we'll go back to using her in her non-corded mode. Because, yeah, 300 watts seems very nice. Oh, I best just put the plug down here, otherwise somebody will say, oh, you fibbed to us and had it plugged in. No, I haven't. Gotta wait for the motor. It is jolly good fun. I think due to that issue on this rug, we're going to move somewhere else to see if it was that, or if it's better on different carpets on full power. Let me take you upstairs. Welcome to the kids' bedroom, which has this awful zero pile carpet on it. If I go fetch Sheila from back here, hello, and turn her on mains, we'll see if she does any better. Oh no! Whoa! Oh, yeah. Still the red light of doom, blimey. There is some airflow. Let's try the landing carpet, which is a little bit different. The lighting won't be fab, but I think it'll prove the point. Yeah, this was replaced relatively recently. If you live in a rental house, you'll know that you unfortunately have to take what you're given. You know, the carpet is falling apart. They fitted this, and it's only actually really been cleaned by the Vorwerk robot vacuum cleaner, which isn't fab at grooming. So I'm going to keep the release valve open Let's close it. No. Now you see, it's just too powerful. Let's unplug Sheila completely. Oh, my goodness. Oh, come on, spin, damn you, spin. You've got to wait for the machine to, the PCB holds a bit of power. Where is the pile? There's no pile. Yeah. Wow, this was the cheapest, nastiest carpet the man could find, wasn't it? Well, she's not quite the balls out monster that I was almost hoping she was, because when plugged in, it's just too powerful. I know. Could you believe it? And obviously, this must have a really sensitive anti-stall on it. And part of me thinks I could bypass it by just wiring this straight to the motor. The minute it'll go into the PCB, it'll sit somewhere under here, and then to the motor. But we're just going to end up stripping belts, melting bearings, or, you know, blowing it up. It's very, very warm. That must be where the motor is. That's incredibly warm. So it does, however, make it a pretty flipping good cordless cleaner, because, yeah, obviously without being plugged in, it doesn't clamp itself down. It's just enough power, really. It sort of tries. But yeah, not plugged in is the right amount of power, really. So I have created an absolute beast of a cordless vacuum cleaner. The only real problem is, bless her, is that Sheila is quite a ton with these two massive batteries in. I mean, these two batteries weigh not a lot less than the cleaner itself without them. But, you know, these aren't meant to be picked up or hacked by a powerhead. She spent the £700 on the official Karcher one. She is huge, but then again, it's probably the biggest capacitive cordless vacuum that I've ever used. And yet this bag is now full, which, well, there's a bit of space left in there. Yeah, we'll leave that for now. I use it quite a lot around the house. It's really quite, it's very nice. If it wasn't like dragging my car around, it is huge. And then because the hose is so healthy long, I don't actually have to move it that much. I can have it sat here and do my desk way over there. So, yeah, fun. Glad I've done it. I'm sure, I hope you've enjoyed this video, but it's not quite what I had in mind for corded use. I was hoping that the powerhead would last, but we can't do much else. I think we've had the fun we're going to have, and yeah, certainly is an absolutely amazing cordless vacuum cleaner now with this Vax head, which is now a lot better than it doesn't pivot. I just Q-bonded the heck out of that pivoting part. I mean, it'll probably snap itself free again, but not for now. So yeah, I'm quite happy with Sheila. I think I spent under £50, including the batteries and the chargers, and excuse me, we now have ourselves something fun. I'm not quite sure how long I'm going to keep Sheila, I'll be honest. I mean, I don't really have a use for something this absolutely massive. And I'm sure running it with the powerhead is going to take a fair chunk of time off the battery. Although, equally, she's still running now, so it hasn't been that bad. But, yeah, don't know how long I'm going to keep Sheila. But, having had her around has really made me think about the cordless vacuum cleaner I use. And probably before this video goes out. You'll probably know what I mean by that. If all goes well, if all doesn't go well, I'm still saving up for it. And this has been absolutely nothing, but that's the joy of filming stuff in advance. Yeah. So, Sheila now has a power head, which only works in cordless mode. Even with the bleed valve fully open in corded mode, it's still too much. I mean, God, too powerful, Karcher. You've made a machine that just has a lot of raw airflow and suction / water lift from the 1300 watts little motor that's inside of it, and jolly good too. So, tell me, have you created any custom power heads? Obviously, we have the corded Vax one that I made for the pneumatic. Sadly, that broke, and I hadn't actually looked at why. I've decided I didn't care. It's probably popped something off the board. But yeah, Vax, bless them, they make pretty trash vacuum cleaners, but the parts for those vacuum cleaners are great fun to modify with other stuff. So what's your craziest vacuum cleaner modification that you have made? Let me know in the comments down below. And I, and possibly Sheila, I might clean the car out with her at the weekend. In cordless mode, it'll be pretty good indeed. I and Sheila will see you soon, possibly. Bye bye.